All right, today we're diving into something really fascinating, a visitor in our solar system called 3I/Atlas. And look, this is way more than just another comet or asteroid. Its behavior is so strange, it's making us ask some huge questions, not just about space, but about our own place in the universe and what it would actually mean if we're not alone out here. And this quote right here from Bashar just flips the entire script. It immediately tells us that this whole event isn't some scientific puzzle about them out there. No, it's a philosophical gut check for us right here. The real question isn't, what is that thing? It's, how are we going to react to it? So, what's the big deal with this object anyway? Well, it's doing things that just don't make sense. Scientists are seeing what they call unnatural motion. It's slowing down, it's changing course in ways that our physics can't really explain. On top of that, it's giving off these rhythmic pulses and this weird, impossible blue glow. You put all that together, and this thing looks nothing like a standard issue comet. And that, right there, leads us to the absolute core of the question. When we see patterns, when we see rhythm, and what looks like a response to its environment, are we just looking at some random cosmic coincidence? Or are we actually seeing the signature of intention, of awareness? This is where we leave simple astronomy and step into something much, much deeper. Okay, so this leads to a pretty wild idea, but it's central to the sources we're looking at. What if this object isn't just rock and ice? What if it's actually conscious? Now, what's really compelling here is that it's not just one person saying this. We have multiple totally independent sources, and they all seem to be arriving at the same conclusion. Atlas is acting like it's aware. And just listen to the specific words they're using. You've got Seth calling it a patterned thought. The Arcturian Council says it's behaving as if it were aware. And Ra suggests its guided path points to a crystallized intelligence. You see the common thread, right? It's not chaos. It's not random. It's structure. It's pattern. It feels deliberate. So if it is aware, what in the world does that even mean? We're not talking about a brain inside a rock. The ideas being put forward here are way beyond our usual biological boxes. The Hathors see it as something like a tuning fork that holds memory. Ra describes it as pure mind, just encoded into energy. The Arcturians see an autonomous system, self-observing. And Seth says it's more like a fluid, dreamlike consciousness. Naturally, if something is aware, the next question is it trying to talk to us? The sources suggest, yeah, it probably is. But we're almost certainly missing the message because we're listening for the wrong thing. We're waiting for words, for radio signals, when the universe might be communicating in a completely different way. This is where the concept of energetic communication comes in. It's not about sending sentences back and forth. It's about transmitting a whole state of being. Just imagine, instead of saying, I have an idea, you could transmit the entire feeling, the intention, and all the knowledge behind that idea in one single burst of energy. It's a communication of pure resonance, and we might be totally deaf to it. So, why can't we hear it? Well, there are a few roadblocks. For one, our senses are basically survival tools, right? They're designed to spot a threat, not to pick up on subtle cosmic frequencies. Our science also tends to break things down into tiny pieces, which is great, but it can make us miss the symphony of the whole thing working together. Plus, our collective emotional state is so noisy. All that anxiety and fear creates a ton of static. And finally, we just assume communication has to be like a phone call, someone intentionally dialing our number, when it might just be radiating its very nature, the way a star radiates light. And this right here is the absolute pivot point of this whole explainer. This is the big twist. The idea is that maybe this object isn't here to talk to us at all. Maybe it's here to get us to look at ourselves. It's basically a giant cosmic mirror test. This quote from the Arcturian Council just nails it. Our collective reaction, the fear, the curiosity, the denial, the hope, that's the real data. That's the information being revealed here. The object is just the catalyst. By watching it, we're actually getting a perfect readout of ourselves. This means the object itself doesn't really have a fixed meaning. As the Hathors explain, our perception literally creates its role for us. If our collective energy meets it with fear, then it reflects that fear back to us, and it becomes a threat. But if we can meet it with genuine curiosity, it becomes a teacher. The meaning isn't out there in space. It's in the choice we make right here. Bashar lays out this perfect little logic puzzle that just dissolves the anxiety. Think about it. If it's a truly conscious, advanced intelligence, hostility is a primitive thing it would have outgrown ages ago. And if it's just a dumb rock, well, a rock can't be hostile. So either way you slice it, the fear isn't rational. The fear is about our own stuff, not about the object. So what does this all mean for us, for our future? If we truly start to accept that we are not alone, the sources say that's when the real work begins. And it's not about building faster spaceships, it's a call for a fundamental upgrade in our own consciousness. This protocol pretty much lays out the steps, and notice, they're all internal. First, we have to stabilize our own emotional chaos. Basically, learn to manage our collective fear. Second, we need transparency. The era of institutional secrecy has to end. Third, science has to be free to study these things without political interference. And last, and maybe most important, we need to educate ourselves emotionally so that a massive revelation doesn't cause a massive panic. I love this slide because it gets to the very heart of the identity shift that's required. For so long, we've seen ourselves as cosmic orphans, all alone on this rock, special and separate. This is about letting that story go and embracing a new one, that we are simply participants in a vast, interconnected cosmos. It's a huge shift, from feeling superior to feeling like a humble part of a much bigger family. And this final quote from Bashar just brings it all home. It reframes everything. The fear isn't really about what's out there. It's the fear of our own potential. It's the fear of the profound transformation that would be asked of us if we were truly ready to join a galactic neighborhood. And so we end on that question. A question for you. If your entire identity, our entire civilization's identity, has been built on the idea of being alone, what happens when that foundation cracks? Who do we become then? That's the real question 3i/Atlas is reflecting back at us.